AutoRabit, and I have with me our customers, Lano Lakes. I have Arun, who heads the DevOps engineering practice for LOL, and I have Monica, who is the Salesforce technical lead at LOL. Let's switch the screen. Okay, great. So that's us. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, those are our Twitter handles. I'll be glad to make catch up after the session, talk a little bit more about how we build products, what are we doing here, what are we doing for the community, for the DevOps community from AutoRabit. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about, so this is I'm very happy for the fact that we're able to collaborate with our customers here in real time and provide them an API that'll allow them to do what they did, and we'll be seeing that in the demo in a little bit. But let me just talk about the world that we know. So right now, let me talk about Amazon. Amazon is so awesome, the e-commerce business. So I'm not sure how many of you heard about the Amazon Dash Wand. So Dash Wand is an interface. It's a simple device. It's this small. It kind of plugs in onto your fridge. It's just a magnet. So what you can do is you can just open up. So you basically get the wand, speak into the wand in terms of what you want. Like get me a bunch of eggs, or I'm out of groceries, order my usual list. And what Amazon does in the back end is it kind of does the whole supply chain management, and the user is not able to see what exactly is happening in the backend. So Amazon kind of removes the whole pain for a user has to go through in order to procure something. So all you know is a mobile app that you're ordering it on, and the entire process from the order to the delivery is visible to the user. And that's the exact same thing that we want to do for DevOps. What we want to do is let's have the developer concentrate on producing quality code rather than worrying about how to promote the code, how do you update your ticketing system, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Arun to take it forward. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Prashant. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and thank you for showing the interest on this topic. My name is Arun Purushothaman. As a tongue twister, does anybody want to pronounce my last name? So I'm from Land O'Lakes. We're a customer of AutoRabit. We're using AutoRabit for a while. So myself, I develop automated DevOps solutions which are effective and easy to use. So let's see what we have in the menu for you today. So we'll have an introduction. We'll give you a feel of how is our Salesforce structured, so that you could relate to what you're doing. It's very common that every company who is in a drive for continuous improvement will always meet this unavoidable friend, challenges. Right? So we'll share some of those we met on our way. We have 3 use cases for you, which are stitched together for this demo. And finally, you would ask, like, after the demo, if he feels that, oh, this is awesome, this is great, I like the concept, I like the ideas. Now, but how do you apply in your company? So we'll make sure that we have a good walkthrough of the solution, so you could apply the same in your company. Finally, one of our favorite topic is the Q&A. We're all here because it's a two-way traffic. Everybody's here to learn something, so we want to hear from you what your thoughts and ideas are. So with that, we'll jump right in. So how many of you know about Land O'Lakes? All right. Do you know what we do? So prior to joining Land O'Lakes, I was thinking it's a butter company. But soon after joining, I realized that their bread and butter is not just butter. So Land O'Lakes is a Fortune 500 company with diverse investment into multiple technologies, like agriculture, feed, dairy, etc. So we have 4 active orgs to support all these different business units. And then if you ask me 2 years back, we were almost like you, or like many of you out there, seeing that we were using only change set, out-of-box Salesforce features to do the promotions. Sometimes it is manual promotions coming to QA. And then if they're lucky, that will make it up to production. You know the story, right? So that was our world. But then soon we realized the project costs were going high. And what would be a natural thing we'll do? Or like, who in the company will be most unhappy when the costs go high? Can you guess? It would be the business. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to optimize the overall cost. And what do you think would be a natural step if you want to optimize the cost? Any guesses? It's analyze and baseline it. From a DevOps standpoint, you always want to baseline it, which is important, so that you baseline it, you are making an important change, you're making an improvement, and then you know you have the measurement out there. So once we have realized that these were the core three problems we had, so the three severe problems stood out. One is we were spending a lot of extra effort and time on release management, and we had issues with quality. And final one was there was no option for backup, and there was no option to go back to a specific feature. So that's where we started our DevOps journey. So we looked at some of the open source tools like Jenkins. Have anybody tried Jenkins? Great. So we tried that, but we had a mix of business admins also involved, and we wanted to extend the adoption to different people. So with that, we have adopted AutoRabit as one of our DevOps platform for Salesforce. So this was the process we followed. At this time, we had AutoRabit, and we had VSTS Git. I think from last week, VSTS is called as Azure DevOps. So we have started using, we have a commit now, so we have a backup of the code, and we were using merge process, and we were promoting to different orgs. So if you see that Salesforce itself is very advanced, and then on top of that, now we have more advanced tools like AutoRabit and Git repository and many other cloud services. You might ask, why do you need another solution? You already have a lot of greatest and latest. Right? The answer is our resources were already stressed out with the 2-week sprints. And then if you look at on 4 different orgs, parallel projects are continuously going on. And whenever a new feature like DX comes, we want to have some quick wins. We want to show some POCs to the business to get ready for the next projects. So all of this running into different issues. We were having different deployment challenges, those different kind of failures. So with that, let me ask you, why do you think deployments fail? Any thoughts? Have you seen deployment failing anytime? Good one. Anything else? Changes in production, not in sandbox. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, multiple teams in play. Yeah, good ones. Is this working? Oh, okay, that's a pop-up. All right, so this is another deployment issue. You saw it live. So this is one of them. Someone didn't wake up to do it. Somebody said that, not in the right order. You went to a different org. It's not tested. And it was some of our changes, we do it on less business critical time. So we deploy on Sunday morning, 4 o'clock, which is still an issue. And these are common ones. It goes on. Right? So if you see the trend, majority of them kind of falls into the category of manual errors, the tendency of manually making mistakes. So with that, what we have is, today we are excited to share with you a solution which can accelerate your speed to market above any of the advanced DevOps tools currently available in the market for Salesforce, which can gain you a competitive edge on your business. So with that, I'll welcome Monica, who is our Salesforce technical lead, to present the demo.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Monica Nagapuri. I'm a Salesforce developer at Land O'Lakes. Thanks, Arun. That was a great introduction about our company as well as our vision for this demo. So let me get started with this. How many of you guys are using agile methodology in your projects? That's good. So, and how many of you guys do 2-week sprints and deploy to production right after your sprint. Okay, that's a good number. So as Arun has already mentioned, we have 4 different Salesforce orgs at Land O'Lakes, and the Salesforce presence is huge. And what we're trying to do here is most of the projects are in Agile, and we have 2-week sprints, and we deploy to production at the end of every 2 weeks. So now let's see what's the current release process. So what happens when a feature is first developed, and what's the life cycle for it to move through production. So this is a current release process. The first step is obviously you develop, and then the next step is to promote to your orgs. Like whatever the sandboxes that you have, you do the promotion. And you do the commit, merge, and deploy, and this is repeated in how many ever orgs that you have. Approximately, we can say it's taking around 30 minutes for a change to get promoted between the different orgs. So what do you guys do after the change is deployed? We should notify someone that that it's ready for testing, right? So we use work management tools to do this, like Jira, VSTS, Rally. In our case, we are using VSTS. So the next step, as soon as the deployment is done, we notify our QA team or the UAT team that it's ready for testing. So updating the status, communicating with the team that it's ready for testing, that's the next step. Let's say we are good, we received an approval from the QA team, the UAT has accepted the feature, and what's the next step? Deploying to production. Is that the last step? No. So we have one more step to do, that is creating a change request in the IT change management. I don't know if, how many of you guys are familiar with the IT change management tools? Like ServiceNow, to create the change requests before something is put into production. So that is one thing we do like every sprint before something is put into production. And these steps are done at the end of each sprint for all the different orgs in our company. So let's see what's the life that we are going through in every 2 weeks. We are focusedly working on an idea where we are trying to deliver a business value. And then we have, to the left, if you see, we have all these other tools which are distracting us. Like we have to log into these tools and do all these processes in order to make it a seamless process. And we're not saying that these are not critical processes. Definitely, we need to follow all these processes in order to make our, that we are audit compliant and everything. But then, it's really slowing down us, and we were thinking like, is there a way out? Can we make this process better? And that kept us thinking like, how much time are we actually wasting on this? So we did a quick analysis and came up with a number like how much we are spending on these processes which are not actually adding business value. Any guesses? Like across 3 orgs on a year, how much are we spending?
How much is that? 6.
6? So.
Any other numbers?
All right. So we came up with a number, and we did some analysis, and it was like 1 month across all the orgs. So we have multiple different orgs, and we have multiple projects going on each org, and 2-week sprints we deploy to production. So it was like 1 month across all the orgs. That kept us thinking, can we really do something to find a way out of this, and can we use this time to actually produce something that adds business value? So let's see what we have done to solve this. I'm going to walk you through different tools to show you what we have actually done. So in order to do that, I need to jump out of this demo and so currently, we are going to show you the different tools that we are going to use for our release process. As you're seeing, this is Salesforce. Let's say we want to deploy this page with some changes to a different org. And this is the pre-state of the page. And then the next tool is AutoRabit. So if you're seeing this, this is where all our deployment jobs are shown. And currently, if you see, there is no deployment in progress. And then the next step is the Visual Studio. This is our work management tool. If you see currently that the story is in active state, and then the final tool is ServiceNow. So if I do a search on the ServiceNow, which is nothing but our change management system, it gives no results for the word called dairy, so we do not have any change requests currently. So now let's jump right into the demo and see how we are going to tie all this together and see what it does for us. So I'm going to pull up my assistant here to help me. All right, so I'm going to show my phone screen with the Google Assistant. Hey, Google, can you connect to my test app?
All right, getting the test version of DevOps team.
Would you like to promote your changes? Mention org and target to promote.
On dairy, promote to partial.
Here are the top search results.
Oops. Sorry, this is a glitch. I know it never works in a demo, right? Let me connect back.
These are the top results.
Connect to my test app.
Okay, let's get the test version of DevOps team.
Welcome to the LOL DevOps chatbot. You can request things like on dairy promote to partial.
On dairy, promote to partial.
The C job dairy partial C have been invoked. I will update you in 5 minutes on your email or team chat. Also, the change have been created. Please check your email.
Thank you.
Okay. Take it easy.
All right. So what just happened? Let's look at the tools that we showed you before the demo. Now I'm going to show you AutoRabit. So if you see here, what's going on?
Any guesses?
So the deployment is actually happening right now. So this is the status of the deployment. The build has happened. It was so quick that before I switched the screen, the build was already done. And this is the deployment that's going on right now. And if you look at the status, it's completed. So let's go look at the Visualforce page that I was showing you earlier. I'm going to refresh my screen.
Ooh.
And now you should see a new screen. And it says promoted at 1:48 p.m., which is the current time. So do you think this is all? Did we just promote a change and that's all? It's not. So we have other processes as well. So let me step into the other tools which we were using earlier. So this is VSTS. So if you remember, the status of the user story was inactive. So let me show you what happened now. I'm going to click into the user story. And now if you see, it says QA ready. So I don't have to communicate with my QA team anymore. The tool does it for me. And this has been done right now, so it's like at 1:47 p.m. If you see, it's an update from AutoRabit, and the change is at 1:47 p.m. And what else? We had one more step. We need to create a change request, and a change request in the ITSM or the ServiceNow. So let me go back and search for dairy. If you see now, we have a new change request that has been created, which says dairy sprint 9 with the search features enhancement, and it is created right now at 1:47 p.m. as well. So we are tying together our three systems, like our DevOps tool, our work management, and our ServiceNow, which is the change management tool, and do this all together at once. So everybody might be wondering, like, what just happened behind the scenes and how we did it. So I'll pass it on to Arun to explain you how things are done.
Sure. Thanks, Monica. So you can switch to. That's good. How do you feel? Now, how was that twist, right? It was good design that in the demos you have to fail first time and then make it happen. that good surprise? I heard kind of stuff for a bit. So how do you feel about that demo? How do you like it? It's good. Have you seen anything similar before? How do you feel? Do you feel like this is something applicable for you? Are you all familiar with the Einstein app and the Voice 2 now? The new one came out. I think the Salesforce Events app has the same. It's easy. Rather than me searching for all the different menu items to find out, hey, when is Metallica coming in? Hey, buddy, when is the Metallica coming in? Then it's right there. Even the Google was not giving me the results. So is anybody curious to know how it's all done? So it's more for the technology lovers, right? So how many people are like more close to development and technology stack? Okay, that's good. That's a good number. So any guesses based on your awareness? What do you think would be the technologies behind? So high level, this is the feel of it. You are talking to a chatbot, and based on what was the last commit made by that user, and one of our vision is to identify that. Previously, it was your thumb impression to identify who you are, and now it is the retina recognition, and then we are expecting that the voice could be unique. And then if you can identify who is speaking, you can use that unique voice profile to identify the user. And once you have that, then it's a matter of getting into your repository to see who made the last commit, or what was the last commit made by that user. And once you have that, then you know, all right, it came into dev, or it is partial. Looking at the release pipeline, you know that what is the next stage to go, right? So you figured that out. So that's from there. Once you promote it, if the CI/CD is successful, then you're happy. You'll inform everybody, hey, it was successful, and we'll inform both dev and ops. But then if it fails, exceptions are always welcome, and we'll inform the ops, and then they will fix the exceptions, and then we'll take the other route. The second one is what we are doing is, you saw the statuses, just like Monica said, Jira or VSTS. How many of you use VSTS for project planning? Okay, one, okay. So it has those different status. So what we are looking at is a developer was actively working on a story. So the status was either new or active. So we look at those statuses, and then once the promotion is successful, we flip it to QA ready or QA passed based on which org you have promoted it. If you are in UAT, you would say that it's ready for production, right? So that's about that. And then work management, we are making it more efficient. So instead of everybody have to type in to say, what are the changes I'm making? And in Salesforce world, we always keep a heavy load of Excel sheet with different object types. So instead of that, we can read directly from the project planning to see what changes we are pushing to production. So you have a track. You are using that sprint and information to create a change. And for all the audit compliances, those are tracked. So behind the scenes, these are the technology stack I have used. So we have Google Assistant to listen to all the important asks you have. And Dialogflow is the place where you define how we want to propel all these changes, how you digest these. And I'm using Lambda functions for the app to integrate with all these different tool sets, like work management, DevOps, and change management, right? So even though I used Lambda functions, it's not restricting you from using any of the other tools. You can step into Azure functions or GCP or Google functions as well. So you have the freedom to use any of those. Any questions on this? No? Good. So what is this all about? It's in a nutshell, what we're looking at is efficiencies. Efficiencies to make sure that you are focused more on the relevant or what is more important for you. Apart from the efficiency and the speed, the lightness to use, one of the benefits I've seen is, say, for example, I'm in Dreamforce, or if another resource was working in ops, have to promote it. Rather than stepping in and logging into different tools and select those multiple options to make all these happen, as he's walking by, hey, your presentation was awesome, yeah? Can you promote to UAT? Yeah, thank you, and I'm done, right? Just check the notification on your Apple Watch, or you may be walking through. So what we felt is we tried this from last 2 months. So it's just more seamless as we start using it, rather than getting into all of this. One of the other one, again, for those who are technology savvy, the last one, I love this most. So we don't realize it. In any platform you go, say, even from selecting a source to destination, or even selecting your CA job, what is your component, all of these drop-downs, multiple lookups you pop up, you won't realize it. Traditionally, we thought like this is the only way to do it. And you're wasting a lot of time waiting for each one to load. But if you know in your company, if you see that your change owner is not changing every year, for a project which is going every 2-week sprint, all of this remains almost the same. Hey, the sprint number is changing. This is the change, right? So rather than having to go to any of these options and select and slow you down, you could tap into the power of APIs, which will steam directly through without you have a client-server interaction. You have more of a server-to-server interaction. So it's pretty powerful, and that's why you saw the speed. Like, it was even blazing for us. So when we were preparing the demo, we thought like we should include the other process so that we have enough time to talk about it. But it was super blazing fast that she didn't even got the time to show the build. Again, this was only one component we updated, but if there is more component, we'll get to see it. So this is how we are envisioning of our future within our organization. So we want to have a cool workplace for, easy for everybody to use, and easy as have a simple process. The second one was one of the real key driver for this innovation. This was the real spark made us do it. If anybody have worked on developing any of your creative projects or any of the initiatives, so if you have worked on any of those creative, passionate projects, all you need is one thing, which is undistracted time to focus. And this is what the solution does, is that instead of you had a great idea, now that idea is ready to ship, you want to get to the market or get to the customer, at that time you should not be distracted with your next set of awesome ideas. You already have that creative brain. Where this is seamless, as you are continuing your work, you have an assistant to take care of it. Right? Thank you. So it's open for our favorite topic. We'd like to listen from you. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
For your one, when you create your RFC in ServiceNow, you'd already deployed for production. Can you have it return back? Don't deploy until that last stage in ServiceNow is approved?
Good question. Sure. Yes, we can do that. You're right. We can always look at the ServiceNow status to see that only if it is approved, then only the CA job should proceed. So the orchestration will go back to so if I were to do this, the AWS Lambda is the place we will do it. So this is where the logic is. So we'll check first to see ServiceNow have the right status before we invoke the CA job. Make sense? Any other questions?
How long will it take to move from the classical mode of working to come to this? And what were your challenges?
Good question. So, Monica, if you want to take a stab at it.
Yeah, sure. So the initial development of the solution was very easy. Like it took 4 weeks for us to do the initial development. I mean, weekend projects are easy, but then when you actually want to do it for your corporate company, that's when you get challenges like how is security handled, right? And how do you know from which org does it go to which org? And let's say a developer is working on multiple orgs, like in our case we have 4 Salesforce orgs. So what happens then? So we do have some challenges there. So this is we have not completely started using it, but we are doing some initial POCs and stuff for us to do what are the other challenges we are facing. So there's still more to go. This is the first phase that we have developed.
So one of the approach we have taken is out of that, we picked one of the small orgs. So it is the dairy product-based agile room. So most of the people were always in their room, almost 15 people, you can envision that. So we started from there. It's easy to start in simple steps, right? So the advantage we have seen is once the tech lead says that it's ready to promote, and when the assistant speaks back saying that, oh, the promotion is done to UAT, the BSA is already in the room, or the business tester is in the same room. So they know that it's their queue to get started. So the adoption-wise, it was, for us, we had that structure, so it was easy to start from that simple environment.
Yep, please.
Security of using the of the developers to say, hey, go ahead and deploy.
True. It's good question. It's a common question. So when we presented the same in the DevOps conference also, we had this as one of the critical question. And Minneapolis or Twin Cities had a lot of people from health background, and they said, oh, voice, we are not even allowed to use it. So security, if you look at it, same with the Einstein. Every time you are prompted for this chat, it will prompt you to sign in. So you have the different option to say that only if you are in the secure channel, only then you will get to it. Sure.
Have you implemented any kind of version control with this, or can you touch upon?
Sure. Definitely, yeah. So the version control we used was Git, the VSTS Git. Now it is called Azure DevOps Git. And now Microsoft bought the whole Git, so it's just Git now. So the Git repository was what we used. And then we took the approach of branch-based. So it is 1:1. If you commit to the dev branch, it goes to the dev. Or if you commit to your QA, it goes to the QA org. So it's 1:1. So which is easy for you to do a continuous deployment. That means that once you reach QA, the automated continuous deployment knows that this is where the code to be pushed. So we always are staying in really sync mode across all the environments. So the two parts of that is, even though I touched on the VSTS Git, so what are some of the features? What we are leveraging is with AutoRabit is called commit labels or release labels. So in a Git repository, you can club multiple revisions into one, but then in AutoRabit, there is a feature that as you are committing itself, you can club to say, okay, this is my current sprint is sprint 19, club all of them into a commit label, or I can take multiple commit labels to make it one release label. And then I can run the merge process or deployment based on that. So it gives me more flexibility to decide if I want to revert back only a specific feature. Hey, last week we released the search functionality. We don't want that, but we don't want to have that lookup detail. So you have a better granular control on those. Good question.
You had a question.
Are the commits that your developers usually make, are they usually modular, like just the components that they change, or do they have to commit and merge their code to the entire source code, even in like a Java file?
Just the changes that we make for a feature, so we don't have to commit the entire code base or anything. We just, if we make a change to a page, that's what we commit and merge.
So let me just follow up on that. So in AutoRabit, as Arun was saying, we have a feature where you would be able to simply choose what was the change that you made, or you can have AutoRabit draft that change for you. You just click on a button, we go in and find out what is the difference between your version control and your Salesforce org, figure out and put them on the screen for the user, saying that these are the changes. So you just simply choose and say commit, so you don't have to worry about how the XML file is structured, how the compounded XML file is, like for example, if you're trying to commit a field, if you're doing it from an IDE, you'd have to probably commit the entire custom object file. But if you're using AutoRabit, we exactly understand the bean structure of the Salesforce XML, so we'll be able to figure out what line number it needs to go. So that gives, coming back to what Arun said, if you tie this custom field that you just committed with a revision number, and you deploy that using a commit label or release label, AutoRabit would be able to calculate the exact delta footprint change that you made and promote that into the next org. And that's the reason why the build that we did was so fast and the deployment. So you're bringing down your deployment footprint from an entire 5,000 base component to probably about 1 or 2, the exact change that you made.
Sure, makes sense.
Do you also keep those 5,000 pieces in another repository? Are they in the same repository? How do you manage those? Because you're committing things to be built into a package, and you're also committing things to be put into the source code for like historic purposes? How do you manage those two?
So just to be clear, so the CI/CD process, the very first step is you're committing to a repository. So to your question, 500 or 5,000 components, all of them are directly going to the repository. That's your first step. There's no alternative, right? Once it is in the repository, that's where you use your build. That's where the DevOps tool does the build and then does the promotion. Does it make sense? Like the first functionality is simply doing a commit into the repository. So you have everything in your branch. And that's what we need for audit purposes and slice and dice. I mean, some of them, it's transactional, it is financial, so it is need to be completely compliant. Did you get that feel?
Yeah, again, just to add on top of what Arun said, so there are multiple ways you can approach a branching. So these are called branching strategies, right? So you can, so some people would like to have sprint branches, to user story branches, to single change branches. So it depends on how well your team is adapted to it. So DevOps is not only about tooling, DevOps is about people, DevOps is about process, and DevOps, again, is about the tools that you use. So it's not only about AutoRabit, so ServiceNow, VSTS, or Azure Git, all of them will come into play. So the teams essentially have to adapt to the ecosystem of DevOps. So we can talk more, but I hope I answered your question, or re-answered your question.
Did we mention about the fetch before commit?
I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I did.
Okay, great. Any other last questions? We have 2 minutes. Come on. Go for it. You should have more questions. Everybody started thinking DevOps. Where is it going to stop? Huh?
Can you move it on to other processes?
Okay. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Using the voice activation, you use that on different processes within your life.
Other process, you mean to say, can I simply individualize it or more process? Yes, absolutely. And thanks for reminding one of the two. So say, for example, one of your change in a service now is not planned. You can simply tell the chatbot that, hey, create a change for me for another org, say Purina. So you have that freedom to do, and then you can step on to different thing. Or you can say that, hey, how many of our stories are pending? Or say, hey, what are the changes I'm supposed to do? Or how many changes am I supposed to approve as a change owner? So it's your vivid imagination can stretch you. And then one thing to remember, we are not trying to say that you should use voice. All of this, what we have developed in Dialogflow, it works directly in your chat also. You can use it in your business Skype. You can use it anywhere without redoing it. The same Dialogflow can be stretched into any of your chat. You can use it even from Facebook Messenger. And it can also work in Alexa and Cortana.
Yep, that's the world that we're living in. So you do not know exactly what's happening in the background, so you just say what you want the machine to do, and the machine performs. What happens in the background is us developers' headache. But that's the user experience that we're moving to. Amazon, even in McDonald's, right? So you go order a burger, so you don't know what exactly is happening in the kitchen. So you stand there, you pay for it, and you expect a burger. That's it. So that's the user experience the world is moving into. So where does it stop? Until we get to that point. I'm not sure if you watched a cartoon called Jetsons. I think that's where we're headed, having buildings in the sky.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you very much.